We got already in the chat with us today. We got Logan James, who says that Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd match was incredible. I saw Hiroshi Tanahashi crying after watching it, and I started crying too. We were all so moved by that match. Logan continues saying Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd, that was one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it was one, like, it was like maybe 20, 25 minutes into the matchup. I said on the watch along, and you could go back and watch it. I was like, yeah, they're having an all timer. This is an all time. There's rare moments that you realize you're watching something special, something that is a once in a lifetime type of matchup, a star making performance. But I think I said it. I said it on the New Japan Wrestle Dynasty, AEW New Japan Wrestle Dynasty review on Fightful. This was New Japan Pro Wrestling, Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. This was solidifying the legend of Kenny Omega and just him being god tier professional wrestler in the Tokyo Dome. I said it last night as the match was going on. I was like, man, we need to name all the god tier wrestlers. Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome, Undertaker at WrestleMania, CM Punk in Chicago. Like, these are god tier, like, certain places, certain times. It's like in sports, it's like Michael Jordan gets the Jazz, Michael Jordan in Game 6, like that type of thing. Like, that's Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome. It's just god tier, the greatest comeback match I have ever seen. But most of all, a star-making performance for Gabe Kidd. He is the future Tokyo Dome main eventer. He's the future IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. We'll talk more about, Wrestle Dynasty in totality as well as that matchup. But my Lord, what a match! Like, that should have closed the show. There was nothing could follow that. Nothing was gonna follow that. We got here I Make Beats in the chat who says, what's up, THH? Thanks for the watch along and review this morning, SP3. I hope you got some sleep. Bro, I rewatched Omega Kid twice already. Let's go. I have not watched it back because I did get some sleep, like 2-3 hours-ish. So got some sleep. Because our producer wants me to wake up early because he has to leave early.
You did a fucking review already?
For Fightful. Yeah, I got,
I'm like, how did? There's not even this many hours in the morning.
I'm a reviewer by trade, a reviewer by hire. I was hired by Fightful to do a job. Reviewed Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty over the weekend, but of course, I gotta review it for here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So, and finally, like we've been saying this whole morning, Kenny Omega defeated Gabe Kidd in an absolutely amazing, bloody war. This is one of the bloodiest, most violent, and brutal Tokyo Dome matches you will ever see. Both men, a crimson mask, Kenny Omega fucking blood clogging up on his eye in this matchup. Just an absolutely just unbelievable matchup. You know you're watching an all-timer as you're watching it, and this was one of a kind. Kenny Omega coming back to have the greatest comeback match of all time, while Gabe Kidd became a certified made man this morning in the Tokyo Dome. Josh, any thoughts on the Kenny Omega Gabe Kidd matchup? You said that was the one match you seeked out from this show this morning.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Omega's Kenny Omega. I mean, one of the greatest of all time, and he proved it. But then also I think it also did this guy big favors, Gabe Kidd, because he is, from what I understand, he is in a contract situation himself. So this benefits him a lot. This raises his stock. Me personally, I think he needs to stay in New Japan because there's a lot he still needs to accomplish. And I think once he's able to do that stuff, then I think that's where he could branch out. But besides that, overall, I mean, shit. Like, I didn't expect Kenny to go that hard this soon, because because of the type of situation he was in, because of like wasn't even really an injury. It was like more of like a life threatening kind of situation that you know it's not easy to come back from. And the fact that he he just went full like he went fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth gear. I was like, God damn, and there was parts of the match I was a little worried about it because I was like, fuck, like he ain't slowing down. And but I mean it's great to see Kenny back. In general, it's great to see him back. It's great to see him perform. And I really think him coming back is going to help AEW a lot because he's been greatly missed in a lot of aspects. So just to see him, I think in general, I was happy with. But the match itself to me was like more of a plus, and it fucking delivered.
That shit was a movie. That shit was just art at its greatest sense. Just the whole story of Gabe Kidd, a member of the Bullet Club, a group created to tear down New Japan, to take over New Japan, to be against the idealisms of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it's that guy, Gabe Kidd, the madman, who's representing New Japan, who's busting out an Antonio Inoki moves. But not only Antonio Inoki moves to pay tribute to the founder of New Japan, but he's doing it to work over the stomach with the diverticulitis of Kenny Omega. Like, just the storytelling in this matchup was completely incredible. Like, you have to go out of your way, seek this out. This is the benchmark for match of the year. Started on January 5th. We might have already got our match of the year. And this is literally 2 years after Kenny did the same thing with Will Ospreay 2 years ago.
In the same place. So I understand. Kenny Omega's a different animal in the Tokyo Dome, regardless of people are going to probably say like, oh, Dave is only going to give it 6 stars because it's in the Tokyo Dome. It's like, no, it's because Kenny Omega is in the Tokyo Dome.
Artistically, no one's on the level of Kenny Omega. Like, I think the only person who was to me was Bryan Danielson. And I'm saying that as someone who has been on this podcast, has been on this show, saying that Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world. But like this morning showed me Kenny Omega artistically and storytelling wise, psychology of a matchup, the way he sells, why he sells, what he does, everything has a meaning. Everything has a purpose in his matchup. There's no wasted motion. There's no, oh, let's do this move because it's going to look cool, which sometimes I do think that Will has that kind of aversion to him because that's the type of wrestler he used to be. Kenny Omega knows every single moment of a matchup. It matters. And that's what that's what was showcased in this match this morning.
And
Agreed.
Anyone, I don't know if it's been talked about, but this guy looks like he's in the best shape of his fucking life. Like, he looks phenomenal. like he's been working. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's something that everybody has, like, Kenny Omega, when he's in the ring and when people see him, he is the best. He is the best. It's just he hasn't been around like enough for that 2-year period and I think kind of almost like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it gave you the ability to see how great a Will Ospreay is. But Kenny Omega, like, I mean, he's basically your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. Like, he is a perfectionist when it comes to in-ring storytelling, and that's why he was always, like, especially for AEW's sake, always been my favorite AEW wrestler, just because he is just so well crafted in what the meaning of his matches are. Like, everything he does, like you said, literally there's a purpose behind what he's doing. Like, he doesn't have any wasted moments. And this is with anybody he's in the ring with. And when you get somebody good, man, sky is the fucking limit.
But like, yo, Gabe Kidd is special. He's a special dude. Like, just his whole overall story is just so fascinating to me. This is a guy who, came up on the British independent scene during the boom period of the 2010s. This dude was in What Culture Wrestling in the late 2010s, beating Cody Rhodes during Cody's initial my wish list, the wish list run that he did right after he left WWE. Gabe Kidd was one of the few guys that beat him during that run. And he decides that he's at a certain point of his career in the UK. He decides to come all the way to Japan. He decides to go into the New Japan dojo. So basically, forget all the years that he did in the UK. He's going to start over from scratch, go into the New Japan dojo, do the dojo system, fight through there, also go into the LA dojo, learn from Katsuyori Shibata. During the pandemic, he goes through a mental health situation where he admits that he contemplated committing suicide. Like, that's how bad he was at in his career. And then to take all of that that happened with him, and to turn it all around, become a part of the Bullet Club 2 years ago, and then everything he's done since then, the rivalry with Eddie Kingston, becoming the NJPW openweight champion, NJPW Strong openweight championship, and basically he was the only option to verse Kenny Omega at this show. When you have the Gaijin gods of Will Ospreay and your Jay Whites, they leave. Zack Sabre Jr. is trying to hold it down as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He can't face Kenny. There was only one option to me, and it was Gabe Kidd. That was the immediate option that I said when Kenny Omega was coming back to New Japan. And they did that with the backstage fight. I got to be a part of the build to this matchup because I did the first interview with Gabe after the backstage fight where he challenges Omega for this show. And then everything that happened in this show, him having that star-making performance, and the fans who basically were chanting Omega's name before the bell rings are chanting Gabe, 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 Gabe at the end of this matchup, towards the middle of this matchup. Just Kenny pushing a young lion and Gabe grabbing the young lion and showing him the lion mark and saying, like, that's what I'm fighting for. I don't even fuck with this young lion, but he's wearing this. I'm fighting for him. Him coming out with the Bullet Club trunks that had the War Dog symbol on one side and the New Japan logo on the other side. He comes out in tracksuits. He pulls down the tracksuits. It got the audible from the crowd when they see the New Japan logo on his trunks. Like, yo, he is a bona fide star. You need to make him one of the faces of this company, because not only is he that good, he wants to be the guy here. That's very rare in New Japan, when you have a gaijin that wants to be here and wants to stay here. They got to sign him. They got to sign him.
Very well
They got to sign him, because the other part of this with New Japan, because we always go through this every year. JJ knows most of all because we've been doing this for 7 years, but it's January. You know what that means. New Japan has a whole bunch of people about to expire contracts. So on the short list of expired contracts for New Japan Pro Wrestling is the aforementioned David Finlay, the aforementioned Gabe Kidd, Drilla Maloney, their Bullet Club War Dog stablemate, Kevin Knight, TJP, Kushida. So yeah, there's a bunch, and there's probably a bunch more, but those are the most notable names that has been reported. A lot of this stuff was first reported by Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp, but it's that time of the year, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the end of January, all these contracts expire. It's just like, dude, could you sign these people to like multi-year deals, please? Please, I'm begging you. Why do we have to go through this every year?
It's something that they might be doing by design.
I know.
It's almost like Wrestle Kingdom is like their benchmark of who's gonna have a strong year for us, who's gonna take us through the year. And I'm pretty sure they watch people's reaction, they listen to people's feedback, they see what their performances are like, and if this doesn't get, especially Gabe Kidd and David Finlay, their bags for them, then I don't think there is a fucking purpose for them to have the contracts here, because if this weekend is not the fucking benchmark for them to get paid, then yeah, I don't know what the fuck their system is then, because then they just are just doing it just out of spite.
Yeah, like New Japan, you gotta pay these guys. Like these guys went out there. David Finlay, I said the Wrestle Kingdom that was his contract game. They, you know how they say, JJ, with football, basketball, this guy's got a contract year. His contract is expiring. He's playing for his next contract. That's what David Finlay did this weekend. He
Pretty
played
much.
for his
That's what it sounds like.
next contract, and Gabe Kidd had one match that should have got him all the money in the world.
That's what it sounds like. And the good thing about it is that all of those people that you named, those are probably going to be the main two that they have to spend like real dollars on. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you could sign Kushida back for not the low, but you ain't gotta like overspend for him. If you give Kevin Knight another contract, that's just basically you're giving him a raise. But the ones that you're giving bags to that is gonna take your company through the year are those two guys there. Is Gabe Kidd and fucking David Finlay.
David Finlay.
Like those would be the two that would take this company into the year with, you know, like you guys mentioned earlier, with all of the people that they lost in 2024. Like, come on. And especially with all of this star power that's shifting places and people that is just listening to offers from everybody, lock these motherfuckers in. Lock them in.
Yeah. This is the most competitive like free agency market in wrestling. So yeah, you gotta lock in, especially when you know that David Finlay, his father, has that connection to WWE. Like you better lock in.
Yeah, especially if based on if what you're saying, like, you know, Tony Khan will throw the fucking Fort Knox bag at fucking Gabe Kidd, and then if there's any connection to WWE at all, if Triple H knows that there's a sniff of availability, he is going to try his damnedest to scoop up David Finlay and do some post WrestleMania shit with him. So please, just lock them in. Just lock them in.
Yeah. We got Chief who says Gabe Kidd earned that contract. Lock him down now. Absolutely. Gabe Kidd is just an electric character. Like, man, just strap the rocket to him. He's gonna be your Tokyo Dome main eventer probably next year or the year after. David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, and that's gonna be a great rivalry to do because it was David Finlay who brought Gabe Kidd into the Bullet Club. So you know, eventually they can do the whole storyline with Gabe trying to usurp freaking Finlay as the leader of the Bullet Club. But New Japan, I will give them credit. They lost Will Ospreay, they lost Jay White, and they found their replacements, David Finlay and Gabe Kidd. They found their replacement and they really stepped up this weekend. So we're going to talk more about Wrestle Kingdom as well as Wrestle Dynasty on tomorrow, 12:05 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be myself and Jay News with our NJPW Wrestle Kingdom 19 and NJPW AEW Wrestle Dynasty reviews. So join us live for that. We'll talk more in depth about everything that went on